You know we love the Loud House on this channel, and we think it's absolutely hilarious. But sometimes the episodes are actually funnier to adults than they are to kids. From totally inappropriate to references to inside jokes only adults will understand, wait until you see which moments made it on our list. Now let's check out the Loud House moments kids won't understand. City Slickers. Let's start with some of the moments from Season 3. In the episode called City Slickers, we get to learn a few more details about Ronnie Anne's and Lincoln's relationship, and to be honest, it's quite complicated. Ronnie doesn't exactly treat Lincoln in the best way possible. But as Lincoln looks back at their weird relationship, he flashbacks to the time when Ronnie Anne put a pie in his pants. Now we might be totally reaching here, but we have a feeling that this is also a brief shout out to the iconic pie pants scene from The Simpsons.
He said pie pants.
Pie pants.
Let's be honest, cartoon characters don't really get a pie down their pants often. It's such a waste. So could this be a very subtle reference, actually meant for adults? We have a feeling not many kids would appreciate that moment. Well, unless you're Lincoln, who totally enjoys it.
I've missed her.
Seriously, adults will probably understand these type of relationship dynamics a lot more than kids, and to be completely honest, it's definitely not a completely healthy dynamic either. Fool Me Twice. Fool Me Twice is a fun episode that's all about trying to avoid Luann's April Fool's Day pranks. And in order to do that, the family decides to hire stunt doubles.
Oh, well, they're good too.
The episode also pokes fun at the fact that Lincoln is the only member of the family with white hair. Let's be honest, it's difficult to find a stunt double with Lincoln's exact same look, but the best part comes when the stunt double basically says this.
You're 11 and you have white hair. I did the best I could.
He also says that he came out from retirement from this gig, and Lincoln clearly wasn't convinced until he pointed out that he just sits around reading in his underwear. It was only then that Lincoln realizes he's perfect. Could this be a very subtle joke referring to what Lincoln's actually doing in his room? Or better yet, what his stunt double is actually doing? We've seen Lincoln reading in his underwear a lot, but imagine doing that as an old man. Kind of weird, right? His stunt double also never specified what kind of things he's actually reading. Nothing to see here, kids. Only adults will get this one. The Loudest Yard. The Loudest Yard is one of those episodes that's totally adorable, but it comes with a scene that definitely shocks more parents than it does kids. We all know Lincoln isn't exactly an active kid, and he spends way too much time indoors.
It's not healthy to sit around playing video games all day.
Actually, Mom.
Out.
Read Aloud is actually right. It's really not healthy to spend so much time inside, so she tries to get Lincoln to be more active. It's safe to say that it's not actually working, but one of the weirdest moments ever comes from the living room scene. We first see the television and Read Aloud making weird panting noises.
See? Exercise can be fun.
She says that exercise can be fun, and then this happens.
I read you loud and clear, Mom.
Okay, adults, you have to admit that clip made you feel just a little bit weird inside, especially since Lincoln makes a funny smirk as he looks at his mother's behind. Of course, it's because he found a way to still not actually exercise, but honestly, that's just one of those moments that really wasn't meant for kids. Luanns Puns. Luanns Puns might be annoying to the Loud family, but we absolutely love them. She has dropped some serious gems over the years, but here are some of our faves. In the very first episode, the kids argue because the lights went out in the house. Luann says that she knows why the lights went out, and it's because they liked each other.
Hey, I know why the lights went out, because they liked each other.
Come on, that's a totally underrated joke. In an episode called Get the Message, she says if they heard about the thief who stole a calendar, and then she adds that he got 12 months.
Did you hear the one about the thief who stole a calendar? He got 12 months.
We bet adults got that one better than the kids. And in Undue Pressure, she busts out one of the best knock-knock jokes ever. When a delivery man knocks, Luann replies with, "Who's there?" After she says, "Delivery man who?" The guy is clearly not entertained, but Luann says that he needs to work on his delivery.
Who's there?
Delivery man!
Delivery man who?
Come on, kid, it's rated!
Seriously, she's absolutely hilarious. BRB, totally stealing some of these jokes. Sweet and Sour. Sweet and Sour is definitely one of those favorite Loud House episodes. It's just so much fun seeing the family do something outside of their house.
We'll be so good, you won't even know we're there. We promise.
Of course, everything just turned into a complete mess.
Race it to the bottom!
But one of the most shocking moments comes from the fact that the parents were even more mischievous than the kids. And that's the first time that's ever happened. But we bet most kids didn't get the subtle message in the Marco Polo game that actually got the parents kicked out. Even the parents themselves say that the kids are far too young to understand it. Honestly, it's very rare to see the parents misbehave in general, but it's even worse when they're hiding it from their kids. But by the looks of it, that Marco Polo game was very necessary for Rita and Lynn Sr.'s relationship.
We'll tell them when they're older. Race you to the hot tub.
Oh, no, you don't.
Back in Black. The entire episode revolves around Lucy getting a crush on a boy that's totally different from her.
Hi, I'm Lucy.
And of course, the Loud sisters all recommend Lucy to change her look to make herself be more like them. The girls all test different styles on Lucy that will help get Rocky's attention.
What are you doing?
Eventually, she has her hair dyed blonde and becomes a complete girly girl. She also puts on an accent and basically acts like a completely different girl.
Ooh, great shot, Rocky Bear.
Even though the message is clear, we have a feeling most kids don't understand it. As girls develop their first crushes, they'll try to do whatever they can to make sure the other person likes them. But the truth is, you shouldn't change yourself for someone else at all. It's a subject adults definitely know more about. Kids will appreciate this moment a lot more once they're older and see just how much Lucy actually wanted to change. Patching Things Up. Patching Things Up episode from Season 2 comes with some unexpected subtle messages that will probably go over kids' heads. We all know Clyde is just a little bit special. This episode clearly wanted to keep the humor of Clyde's character, but we also feel like it sent a different, more important message. This one might go over kids' heads, but we bet parents caught on the subtle scene. After all, the boys are pretty much hiding in a closet, and once they come out, they're both wearing dresses.
There's no cookies in here either!
I'm starting to lose it, Lincoln.
But then they go back in to avoid being seen, and the second time they come out, Lincoln's back to his normal clothes, but Clyde's still wearing the dress, and he even adds a tiara to go with it.
Clyde? Oh, right! What was I thinking?
The Loud House is extremely progressive when it comes to LGBTQ characters, so we wouldn't be surprised if the moment is also a subtle hint. Either way, you go Clyde, you look awesome. Cheaper by the dozen. The whole Bobby and Lori relationship definitely has moments that only adults will understand. Unless you've been in love, you won't know what it's like. But there's one moment in Season 2 that took everyone by surprise. It's called Cheaper by the Dozen, and everything revolves around Lincoln and Clyde suspecting Bobby has a side chick. The entire theme of this episode is definitely more suited for adults, but the most shocking moment comes when they overhear an older woman say to Bobby to slip out of those clothes to get started.
Why don't you slip out of those clothes and we'll get started?
Clyde then covers his eyes, saying he's not allowed to watch R-rated movies, which basically means this scene is definitely not for kids.
I'm not allowed to watch R-rated movies.
We can also see Bobby actually dropping his pants. Sure, it all turned out to be completely innocent, but that's far too many innuendos for a kid show. Like Clyde said, we'd prefer below R-rated moments, thank you very much. Lock and Loud. Okay, we all know Lisa has some quirks about her that are probably seen as slightly weird, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Well, that is until you start giving out bad vibes. In Lock and Loud, we get to see those bad vibes firsthand. Lisa is normally ridiculously cute, but this was just a little bit too much. Throughout the episode, she wants to get her siblings to help her with her bathroom studies. She installs cameras in the actual toilet, and she actually wants stool samples.
I also need a stool sample.
For your security system?
She claims they're for her security system, but her dubious smile tells the different story.
Sure. That's it.
Seriously, that went just a little bit overboard. Not to mention that the whole thing with cameras in the bathroom is just a whole nother level of weird.
I'm still gonna need those stool samples.
But we have a feeling many adults will understand Elisa's weird quest better than the kids. Sure, it might be gross, but some people just like gross things, right? And we think this is what the show was hinting at. Anyways, that's just too much information. Let's move on. A Tale of Two Tables. Season 1 has plenty of hilarious moments, but one of them stands out the most, and we bet you missed it. It happens in the 4th episode titled A Tale of Two Tables. It's all about Lincoln proving he's mature enough to sit at the adult table. Honestly, that alone will make sense to a lot of adults who to this day sit at the kids' table because they're still seen as kids.
In most families, the kiddie table is something you only see at holidays.
But in this episode, Lucy and Lincoln have a funny exchange about broccoli. Lucy asks Lincoln how he can eat broccoli when it suffered so much to get there.
How can you eat that broccoli when you know how much it suffered to get here?
Of course, Lincoln replies that broccoli doesn't feel pain, and then Lucy pretty much makes him listen to the broccoli screaming on the inside.
Broccoli doesn't feel pain.
Oh no. Listen to the broccoli screaming, Lincoln.
If you're a vegan or vegetarian, you've probably heard the argument that plants feel pain just as much as animals. Whether intentional or not, this moment looks like it was a reference to that. We bet adults have had debates that are definitely similar. Potty Mouth. Okay, not going to lie, the Potty Mouth episode from Season 2 was absolutely hilarious and one of our favorites. No one likes to see their kids swear, even though adults tend to swear most of the time. But being a potty mouth can get you in a lot of trouble as a child. In Potty Mouth, Lily is apparently overheard saying the D word. But adults probably know that unless she's saying something highly inappropriate, there is no D word that would really be bad. Which is probably what makes this episode so hilarious to watch. We absolutely love how the kids realize they're all saying bad words that might influence Lily.
Our 2nd anniversary!
In the end, it turns out that the D word was something entirely different and totally innocent. But then it gets worse because she actually drops an actual curse word that gets bleeped out. It's definitely one of those episodes that parents understand more than kids, and we bet you laughed out loud at the ending. The Loudest Mission. Breaking the fourth wall is Loud House's specialty, and it makes complete sense considering Lincoln is telling us about his life. But did you notice that this is exactly what Lincoln told Ronnie Anne she should do?
Here's something that might help you out. It always helps me.
It's one of those moments where it's clear that letting it out and talking to someone definitely helps, but of course the Loud House made this work in a cartoon type of way. So Ronnie Anne isn't just talking to anyone, she's talking to us, the audience.
Huh, Lincoln was right. It does help talking to you guys.
This also means that talking it out is one of those things Lincoln does to decrease the stress of living with a large family. And this is also an important life lesson for anyone who's having way too many things on their plates. Of course, talking to a camera might not always be a solution, but talking about your problems is definitely a way forward. Not to mention that this entire exchange makes us excited for the Los Casagrandes spin-off show. Driving Miss Hazy. Another underrated episode comes from the very first season. Lincoln basically helps Lenny try to pass her driver's test, and he does it because he's tired of doing favors for Lori.
This is a lot of laundry. I don't think it's worth it.
Do you want a ride to the comic book store or not?
If you're an older child, you definitely remember doing this exact same to your siblings. The entire episode definitely brings back memories for all adults who were in the exact same situation. Passing a driver's test definitely isn't easy, and many fell multiple times and put in a lot of hours.
Move it, Slowpoke! Mama needs a new driving dress!
Lori also sabotages Lenny to make sure she doesn't actually pass, and she does it in the most hilarious way possible.
Never check your mirrors.
Seriously, the entire episode is absolutely hilarious, and it's definitely a reminder of what it was like living without a driver's license. Of course, it's also a reminder of what it was like getting that driver's license. It's just one of those things kids won't understand until they're older, and they have to go through it themselves. The Sweet Spot. The Sweet Spot is a fairly ordinary episode, but one thing that stood out was a hilarious moment with Lenny's nightmare. If you missed it, you definitely have to rewatch the scene because honestly, it's totally relatable. Actually, the entire episode of having the perfect spot in the car is relatable.
I'm sorry you had to see that. Having the wrong sister next to me could totally wreck the sweet spot.
If you have a large family, you can totally relate. Sitting next to the wrong person can ruin your entire ride, but that's not what we're here for. Lenny actually has one of the most hilarious fashion nightmares. If you're a modern fashionista that just can't get on board the old school clothes, you're definitely feeling this on a spiritual level.
Oh, scrunchies. Oh, leg warmers.
Lenny's scrunchies, leg warmers, socks, and sandals. We bet this gave adults who remember those days a good giggle. We just love that her fashionable character is so in love with current fashion she even dreams about it. Don't worry, Lenny. We promise that socks with sandals are definitely never making a comeback. Hopefully. Space Invader. And our final moment belongs to the episode that's still the most shocking every time we watch it. It's by far one of the most subtle moments on the show that can easily fly past the kids' heads, but adults are definitely aware of Nickelodeon's innuendos, so this didn't go unnoticed. The moment happens in Season 1, Episode 6B, called Space Invader. Lynn and Lucy have a fight, so Lincoln lets Lynn cool off in his room. Lynn immediately notices that Lincoln's room has, in her words, a lack of balls.
No soccer balls, no footballs, no baseballs, no balls. Good thing I brought my own.
Innocent, right? Well, it would be if it wasn't for the pause right before Lynn said it's a good thing she brought her balls. Even British TV thinks that it's a bit inappropriate because that pause was actually cut out from the UK version of the episode.
You know, I'm noticing a complete lack of balls in this room. No soccer balls, no footballs, no baseballs, no balls.
And we bet adults understand this slightly more than kids. But interestingly, even Nickelodeon thinks some of their own moments shouldn't be meant for kids. Honestly, we bet there are a ton of more moments where a Loud House joke went over all of our heads. If you remember any, make sure to post it in the comment section. And that's it for our video. Don't forget to subscribe to The Things for more feel-good content. Thanks for watching. See you next time.